How you doing there? So glad you came to visit today. We're here talking about Black issues and Black life in America and whatnot. My name is Tomlin Snyback, and this is 365 Days Towards Racial Change. Um, we are going to get into some of Dr. Anderson's work today, but I wonder how you figure. I know I have Black and white fans watching these videos that they're on my private email list that read the description. If you read the description at the bottom, you click on it, it should expand, and there'll be between 500 and 700 words about this video. They're meant to go together because well, the those words really pertain to the last half of the presentation. I just kind of talk freely in the beginning. But where do you stand? Do you believe what I'm saying, or these things that are real in America? This is day 297. Is there a racial problem issue in America? Are we all? Do we all have an equal um, opportunity at the wealth and resources of America? Or is it just are blacks behind or appear to be behind because we don't know how to navigate or something like that? There's education issues, whatever. So those are the things we tease out, right? I've kind of become educated along the way. At first, I didn't have terms or real details about why I felt left out, left behind, excluded in America. But I was hitting walls and I was getting blindsided um, because of my age now, my color, my sex. Um, and there's probably whatever mankind can use to differentiate and exploit and find reason to marginalize mankind has that. And it's more so in America, I say, right? It's and in America, it's covert. So I'm just walking along in society and life. I'm trying to excel, reach out, move up, and I'm blindsided, right? From out of nowhere, I'm checked in my progress in being better, and I watch people of other colors, younger ages, um, women, in my case, sometimes men, race right on by me, employing the same um, tactics to better their lives. You gotta feel and understand how frustrating that is to to see that happen. Um, Men of people of different demeanors would have snapped long ago, I'm sure. But I keep chugging along, because I have a faith in God and I've had a lot of support. I've got a lot of white friends. I actually grew up mostly in the white community. So everything is moving along, I think, as it should. And I believe in the hereafter and comeuppance and things like that. So the story's not over yet. The story's not written, finished being written, you know. And I like to read a book to the end. So I got to see how this life of myself finishes off. Yesterday I got stuck on a book, the name of a book. It's called The Creature from Jekyll Island by a man named Griffin. You want to read that book because I was teasing out central banking and how that relates to America's influence in the world. You need the central banking system to do commerce and exchange, but as with America, there's a few um, hitches and catches and um, bits of subterfuge going on with having a central bank and what that means and how to exchange goods and things like that. But please read that book. It goes along very well with this project. You know, I'm thinking about if I do another iteration. There's a couple books that have come on my radar that would do well to get some attention from old Tomlin's Nyback. Black folks, how you doing? Oh, on the money, on the aspect of money, how are you doing? I'm seeing more and more products coming out, cutting out brokerages and brokers as middlemen, and seeing more opportunities to do your own kind of freelance investing and things like that. Acorn, I personally use them on finance. So check some of those um, products out. It's not guaranteed, but if you can kind of put yourself in the mode to trust somehow, uh, then it might be a good experience. I wasn't told about investing. When I talk to my family and when I reach out within my family or my community about investing, a lot of products, procedures that the power group employs to make themselves better in the world, I get blank stares and I get resistance. And my family and other people, are taking advantage of these things, and they don't share, holler back, you know. But that's a problem in the black community. We talked about this. It's a impact and effect of Meritorious Manumission, where you had the power group employing a lot of devious means to keep blacks separated, suspicious, and all that, and it's really and it's just carried over. One of the things, one of my personal, I think, missions in life is to undo some of that family curse that has been um, running rampant through my family since they came over in a boat. I am a descendant of slaves, and the right. So in my family, um, having white folks in control, keeping us muzzled, hobbled, castrated, if not physically, then just appropriating our power, man and woman, then that's a part of my family's experience and dynamic. I used to get real mad that they weren't sharing, but the elderly just don't know how. For one thing, not a whole lot of teachers in my family, right? You don't find. Um, I can't find a whole lot of examples of black folks who are educators, just about the basic stuff. I'm not talking about some college professor. I'm saying, um, keeping your children accountable, responsible, things like that. Nah, it's not happening. It didn't appear. Doesn't have a whole lot of uh, visibility in my family. That's one thing. So, when I get my family started and things like that, my children are going to know. Yeah, white traditions and stuff definitely abound. But my children are going to understand their space, their color. Whoever I marry, I may marry a white woman, Chinese, all right, doesn't matter, black woman. Uh, but my children are going to have a portion of blackness there. They need to know that the impact of their skin color, what their skin color means in this world that places uh, so much emphasis, weight, and concern on skin color when that is just as appropriate, as inappropriate as it is, right? As irrational as it is. It's still a very powerful um, structure of thinking in the world, especially in America. Other countries, um, right? When you got genocide in Africa, that's very interesting. How are these black people discerning who they are, right? Along because they're all black, right? But they can differentiate the tribes and have genocides, right? In the Middle East, it's along religious lines, Shia and Sunni, right? Well, what's the how do you tell? Um, so in America, we simplified it. Skin color, interesting. I'm inspired to do this work by a man named Dr. Claud Anderson. We are in his uh, material for the next couple of days, and we're actually, I don't know, we'll get to whatever. I wanted to finish Uncle Tom's Cabin definitely, and whether or not we get through all of Dr. Anderson's material is doesn't matter because it's all, his burden is to see black people become competitive, um, and have a revival of black folks, which is pretty tough. The material we're talking about was written 5, 6, 7 years ago by Dr. Anderson. Yet it's timeless. The principles still apply, no doubt. A Black History reader, I don't want any questions you never thought to ask. Black labor, white wealth, search for power and economic justice, and Dr. Anderson's national plan to empower Black America. Powernomics. You can find Dr. Anderson at powernomics.com and here on YouTube. And you can get those books at his website as well. Behind me, you'll see the hashtag #US2 symbol. Find black women supporting one another, having their community. Check out Black Enough, BLAGGENUF, kind of a black Facebook experience. If you got a business mind, go see Dr. Boyce Watkins at the Black Business School. He's also here on YouTube and got a website and some products that may get you some education, get you kick started in the direction of entrepreneurship. And also, we just got finished Uncle Tom's Cabin, Harriet Beecher Stowe's phenomenal work. Make that part of your consistent reading, and you'll get to understand America's roots. a lot better. Today's day 297, and in the Black History Reader, the question is, can blacks be a competitive group without group self-interest? And this is one of Dr. Anderson's principles, pet peeves, is that the black disunity, much a result of slavery, has crippled us, and we're not. I think he would be of the mind to say we're never going to come back, be competitive as a group, be taken seriously, unless we are unified, like whites, Chinese, any European group, right? Middle Eastern groups, Arabs, right? You know they are unified. Hispanics, because you see them together, um, minus any drama or difficulties, right? I mean, it seems like the only way you get black people appearing together at a group is in church or at an awards ceremony, right? But I don't see black folks gathering in the park or a collection of black-owned businesses, right? In black neighborhoods, the bodega is not a black-owned business, right? I've seen that once when I was a little kid across from my grandmother's house, but he wasn't supported, and so he failed. Um, right? He didn't thrive and turn into some big chain, right? He had the right idea, but the black community did not come around him and make that a happening place, a center. Uh, so unity, group self-interest is an imperative or a requirement for uh, blacks being competitive, successful as a group. But we're under social conditioning over centuries, and that's the one thing about the other groups. Two big things: the other groups are not under social conditioning. The Native American is not the Native American. While they were wiped out almost into the Stone Age, they were never enslaved and controlled in that way. They were either a part of what's going on or they were killed off. But they were never this middle of the road, exploited, slaved out people. Um, but black folks, we get taken, sold, however we got on the boat, crossed the Atlantic, landed on these shores, and were a lot of physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, conditioning over hundreds of years, micromanaged families, separated families. All of this was um, enforced upon black people, and we you don't. It's tough to come away from that, right? Our latest bright light was Colin Kaepernick, right? And forget the argument of allegiance to flags and stuff like that, but it's about self-determining and being a unique individual, right? Black people aren't allowed to be that. You know, white folks are okay because this is their land. It's created by whites for whites and supported by whites, right? So, of course, there's going to be a lot of white nationalism going on around that. Think about Jim Crow, about 100 years of semi-slavery. We had generally some education in the North, but still some separation. In the South, they just said, well, if you've been emancipated, well, we're going to have legal attacks on you. We need your labor, and we can't pay for it. We don't want to pay for it. We want to steal your labor. So here comes Jim Crow with mass incarceration and stealing labor and all this stuff. Um, right? So, on that note, where does this term African American come from? Like, as though we have some connection to that beautiful land to the west of us. No, I'm sorry. We learned at the end of, through Harriet Beecher Stowe's work and just history itself, ain't no African in the black American, right? And I had a big argument, a lot of discussion about that a couple days ago. So we're human beings, and we need to kind of let that term go. Get that African American term off of the census, because I'm not an African American. Africa's been bred out of me. I don't have a language, culture, custom, religion, um, geographic connection to any space on Africa, right? You got to do some heavy digging over a long period of time. I can go to some of these DNA sites and get an idea, but that's not my history. I'm an American. Hear my voice, see my dress. Dr. Anderson writes, normally a group that has been systematically oppressed for a prolonged period develops a heightened sense of group consciousness, self-interest, and closes its ranks against outside threats. He's talking about every single group except black people. And he says blacks appear to be different, right? Vietnamese, Hmong, Hispanics, Arabs, Asians. You get a sense that, I know I get a sense that to penetrate that culture is going to take some doing, some work. I'm going to massage some things over a long period of time. Otherwise, they really don't have anything, want to have anything to do with me of value, so to speak, right? Unless I'm doing commerce with them, it's not a social occasion to be hanging around those groups. Hispanics, somewhat, right? Well, but in general, overall, those groups are very close-circuited, close-knit, right? Rightfully, and that makes them competitive. They're moving as a unit in the in the American space. And see, blacks, we're really still very divided. I know we got award shows, but man, it's so flashy. I'm even like, I don't watch black awards shows, right? Because it's the same thing white people have, but black people are wearing the clothes and the skin is black, right? I got this big book here, um, called Black First, right? Big old thick book. Look how big Black First. Well, the only original thing maybe I can point to is the entertainment and whatnot. The rest of the book, maybe some sciences, the rest of the book is where white people have paved the way and the first black person has come along in that environment. That's not a first for me. That's not an original thing. And so much of what this commercialized black unity is not my idea of an affirmative black community position happening. And I'm going to stay critical of that until I see us as black folks, as a community, moving together in other arenas and stuff, not entertainment and whatnot. We're more than entertainers. You got philosophers, doctors, medical people, right? Ben Carson, right? Now there's some originality and stuff, and some of his experiences with surgery. Yeah, now that's what I'm talking about. Let's show me some black people doing a new thing, right? Our black president, God bless you, Obamas and stuff like that. But you had a white backup, and you wouldn't have gotten there without white support. I mean, be realistic, man. All right, and the thing is, you got Mitch McConnell saying that America has solved its racial problem because we had a black president. Did we? All right. Did Obama do anything that a white president would or would not have done? Think about it. Dr. Anderson, another one of his pet peeves is how us black people have this bad habit, and I saw it in my life, and I'm starting to resist it, where black altruism, uh, our global consciousness and stuff, outreach, is so, oh boy, black people we throw ourselves under the bus. I complain about some of my experiences with being thrown under the bus, being so expendable, but I can't tell you how many times I just do it automatically. Oh, nobody's sacrificing themselves. Let me throw myself into the meat grinder. And uh, that's some kind of mental conditioning on black people, right? We need to stop doing that. It's okay to stand our ground, get our needs met, right? Even the basic stuff. Okay. You don't see other groups that they do first aid in the right way. And what's the process for first aid? You help yourself first. You can't be missing limbs and shot up trying to help somebody until you're secure, right? Then you go and minister. But black people, well, we're hobbled in our economic means. We got racism applied to us. We've got all this array of resistance in America at us, but we're loping around and supporting all kinds of projects and initiatives, and we ain't even got our needs met. And yeah, we feel some sense like we're honoring God and stuff like that. We got to get away from that. The other groups don't do that, and they excel, and they are prosperous, and they have influence, power, right? They are controlling their spaces that are known for uh, being omnipotent in in their way. Then once they have what they're after, then they'll go, and what's ever left over, yeah, sure, some tax write-offs here and a little outreach here, right? Black people are the only like sacrificial lambs. I mean, we really got some church indoctrination like on us. Right? I watch a lot of Alien movies, the Alien franchise. You know, we really got it bad. Our our sense of outreach and stuff is just stuck to us. We can't escape it. It's laying eggs in our body. Creatures are coming out. but we're right there in the front line helping out. Oh boy, we got to do something about that in our community. We got to be vocal and visible about it too. On the streets would be nice, but that's a challenge with the internet and everybody got their face stuck to the phones nowadays, so that's a problem. Uh, so, can we be a competitive group without group self-interest? I'm not going to answer that explicitly, but look at the evidence. Get Dr. Anderson's book, read his thoughts about that, and watch his videos, and come to your own conclusions. I don't want to lead you. I'm just doing journalism here, putting information out. You make an informed decision, and make a decision you must about the position, the orientation of black people in America. I'm Tomlin's Nybags. It's day 297 out of the way. Thanks for hanging out again at 365 days towards racial change.